Hello, Mom and Dad. This is Mr. Frazier, as well as hello to all my students. If your parents aren't listening to this, if you could please pause the video and go ahead and grab them real quick so they can hear what I'm about to say. All right, welcome back. This is Mr. Frazier, and I'm guessing by now you've already seen your child's first test score. Please understand that this has a tendency of being typical for the first test. The reason being is many of them are used to retaking or redoing a lot of work, and they have to refocus and start on mastery of what they're learning. So, if you ask them, what did you learn today, and they can't tell you, then we have to address that issue. Okay? I can tell you that this test was visual based. Now, as a parent, I'm going to show you really quick what they were supposed to learn over the first 3 weeks. That is called linear. This is called exponential. That is called quadratic. That is called absolute value. And that was called linear piecewise. Okay? So they had to know about 5 function families. They had to know them visually. They had to know the difference between when things were dotted and when they're solid like they are now. These would all be considered continuous. If I do the same pictures like this, these are considered discrete. Okay, because they're dotted. So there were some things and vocab that they talked about, but all of this was visual. It was no arithmetic. Then the last thing that we talked about was understanding the equations that would go with this. So for example, if I write something like this, it's where the x is. And because x is the exponent, this is called exponential. So meaning they were supposed to figure out that the equation matches with the graph matches with an equation. Anything that's x squared is considered quadratic. So that means whenever you see an x squared, it's automatically this type of picture. Whenever you see this type of picture, it's this type of equation. Absolute value. Whenever the x is inside an absolute value sign, it's this picture. Whenever you have this picture, the equation has to have x in the absolute value. And last but not least, when y equals x, it's just linear. The x is just there. Now, was there more to this lesson? There were some tweaking to this lesson. Like there were some other things that they had to know as well. But this was the big concept. If they understood this, they should have done relatively well on their test. We're talking B, at least, if they could do these things. And we spent 3 weeks on this, and I did several video notes, and we worked out of the book. Many of the children don't write in their book. So we'll go over stuff. They won't write down their answers. We start talking about stuff. They won't do their homework. So I'm going to go over today test corrections. I will go over Form A. Okay. As I go over Form A, I will be correcting it so that they have to do the following. They, 1, have to rewrite the problem. 2, tell me what they did incorrect. Okay? Or it's the same thing as saying what I should have done. This is what I should have done. I should have known this. Whether it be a definition, whatever it may be. but it should be a sentence. What should I have known? Okay. Remember, they're writing out the question, which means they have to draw the picture as well. And then 3, they have to get the right answer. Now, when I go over this in our Illuminate session, because this will be an Illuminate session, okay, as well as a video. So I'm going to put it in both. I'm actually going to do the video right after this. But I want you to understand what the process is for them to be able to retake this test and score much better. But they will have to do these things. Okay? 1, 2, and 3. They have the opportunity to practice a lot of these things in something called their skill practice book. This is the book that they should have been bringing to and from school all the time, skill practice. Okay. And what do I expect them to do out of the skill practice book? I expect them to do 1-1 through 1-4. Now, how do they know if they're doing well? I've posted these answers online. So I want them to try it and then check their work. When they've done the test corrections and they've done the skill practice, I promise you, they should score much higher on the second test. Remember, the first test and the second test get averaged together. So even though they may not be able to get an A, they will be able to raise their score. I have approximately 4 tests every 9 weeks. We're on a 9-week basis. So I appreciate your time. And the next video is going over test form A. Form A, B, and C, and D are all the same questions. The questions were just scrambled. So when I do form A, they will have to pay attention to find the same question on form B, C, and D. These forms will be uploaded online on Moodle, the same place where these answers are, on Moodle, okay, so that they can download the questions so that they know what the questions were, and they can match what I'm doing in Form A with Form B, C, and D. Right. Please remember that the first assignment was to have your parent text me. Hopefully you know my phone number is 727-489-4489. And they get 4 out of 4 points for this whenever it's done. Right. So hopefully they learn from this experience and they pay more attention to the video notes and really study with me. I did an Illuminate session online for this test, and I only had 5 students study with me for this test. And I went over all the test questions, what they would see. Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully you click on the next video and we will go through and answer the questions from the test.